Nozzle nopes out of nowhere, lightning layers leaving lines, and bamboo bends bits both ways. All this and more. PrintFix Friday, episode 177. Let's get into it. Starting off, we got clean plate and cold pull on the nozzle. We definitely have some things going on. Let's take a look at the photos that we got here. Not looking great. PA test. It's an old PA test, but it still checks out.
It's an older code, sir, but it checks out.
Definitely have some issues here. Okay, we can see it's a JOPETG. They're running 265 and right around 70 to 80 on that build plate. Top comment says your nozzle's clogged. Also, line method is deprecated, which it is, but that's fine. This is the line method they're talking about. The new method is more of a V style. It is a better indication of pressure advance. Get different filament. As dumb as this sounds, get reliable, consistent filament. I don't know a lot about JO, but I know a lot about cheap brands of filament, and I have some JO. The only reason I have JO because it was like sub 10 bucks a kilo when I got it on a deal. We can see they posted a bit of an update here with some benchies, different materials, and we're still getting some rough lines here. From what I can see, this appears to be related to chamber temperature. Like, we're getting to a point where it's getting so hot that we're getting some heat creep. But once the machine can move fast again, the heatsink is cooling down with that movement, therefore enabling it to print again. I'd be very curious to see if the actual fan cooling down the heatsink is functioning properly. That would lead to pretty much every issue that we've seen here, right? It'll print for a little bit, but if you're printing over and over and over again where the heatsink itself is not given time to cool down properly, then it is going to look like crap. And that inconsistency could easily be described immediately as heat creep. Now, is that exactly the issue? I don't know. And, well, bamboo is bamboo, and there's not much you can do to really tune this stuff in and determine it because bamboo doesn't let you mess with those kinds of things. But you can get your chamber reading, which will be close to what your heatsink should be. Make sure the fan cooling the heatsink is working, because I think that might be the issue. It's not likely going to be a nozzle clog. We're not seeing any indication of a nozzle clog, because when it is printing really well. And we can see that the benchy that is black was lowering the speed to about 30%. Something isn't right here. I would definitely look at getting a different brand of filament. Try Printed Solid's Jesse PETG. We happen to really like it here, but if you're looking for a PETG that's more of a blend, Polymaker's PETG seems to work well for a lot of people, although it's more expensive, and it's not a pure material. Take that for whatever it's worth. Sometimes blends work better. A lot of the blends are the high-speed materials. They tend to work better. You get less layer adhesion, but hey, if that's what you're looking for when it comes to speed, who cares? Send it. But I would want to try with a consistent material. The other thing to check for is if your nozzle itself is physically damaged. On these printers, especially the P series and X series from Bamboo, they grind the nozzle across the build plate as a method to clean it. There could be a piece of build plate stuck in the nozzle, or the nozzle could be damaged in some way that even a cold pull is not exactly fixing. Yes, it could be a dead fan that's causing heat creep. There are so many options here that it could theoretically be. And I'd love to know if you have ideas in those comments, but if you ask me, I'd start with that cooling fan. It's the easiest thing to determine whether or not something is wrong. If that cooling fan is working, and when the machine is up to temp, if you touch the heatsink and it doesn't immediately burn you, causing you to scream expletives, then it's probably fine. Try a different brand of filament, see how that works for you, and if you're still going into issues when you're using a trusted, reliable brand of filament, then let's look at replacing the nozzle straight out, or in this case, the actual hot end itself, and see if maybe it was just some damage to the nozzle itself. You can try, technically, to use one of those acupuncture needles and, well, give it the old pokey poke, which will help you determine if the nozzle is damaged in any way, but be careful not to just go at it because, yeah, hardened steel needle versus not hardened steel nozzles. P1S is a stainless steel nozzle if you haven't upgraded it. It could be a bit of an issue. The other thing to try is obviously to turn the temps way up, like 275, 280. And for high-speed PETG, that is not uncommon. We run Polymaker like 280 through the Bamboo E3D Obsidian High Flow at like 30 cubic millimeters a second. It runs well, and it really likes to chew through that filament. But printed solids PETG has to be about 270, and it cannot go that fast. It goes down to about 25 going through it because just different blends of different PETG. So mess around with that a little bit. Whatever the manufacturer says it should be at, just go ahead and ignore it and run your own tests. Hopefully that resolves those issues. And hey, check the comments. I'm betting there's going to be some pretty awesome information there to help you get your printer back to printing with purpose. And by the way, my name's Grant. This is PrintFixFriday, where we do help you get your printers back to printing with purpose. And if you are going through any issues with your 3D printers and want to get them resolved, you can hit us up on all the social medias. Use the hashtag PrintFix. Or if you want to be super cool, you can make a video on YouTube and tag us in that video, and we'll be able to see it. We will feature it in an upcoming episode. And hey, if you don't mind, leave a like and get subscribed. Let's dive right into the next one. From the FlashForge Reddit, we have issues with print finish. I have adjusted speeds and used different filaments from different manufacturers. PLA FlashForge and PLA Silk from Giant Arm. Sure, that's a brand. The extruder is at 220C. I have averaged 30 to 40% humidity in my shop, which is totally fine. I have the filament stored in an airtight container, plus using a dryer, which shows 16% humidity. Why do I not get a smooth finish? Thanks. Couple of things. One, it's not wet filament. We've said it like a billion times. It's not wet filament until it actually is. This is not indicative of wet filament. In fact, it is indicative of you are not giving enough heat to that filament. You are overrunning your heater. You're running too fast for the actual heater. It's time to add some more temperature to your printer. When machines do this, it is because you're building up back pressure. It's getting hot enough with that back pressure, then it's pushing it out really quickly, then pushing it out really quickly. And these little zits are likely, not perfectly, but I'm guessing, are from where the machine is making a Z-hop or a Z movement. And when it's doing that, that extra pressure from that back pressure is being squirted out. We can see other instances with very similar results here where they've got a kind of a wavy surface and those zits. That absolutely can be from your retraction, your Z-hop, whichever you might want. It does appear that your parts are using a random Z-seam. I would recommend going to an aligned Z-seam, and if you need to, go into Orca and turn on scarf seams. We did an entire video on scarf seams, which make a lot of your seams go away. Well, cartridge, so you can take a look. And now Prusa Slicer has it built right in, and quite frankly, I find the stock settings of Prusa Slicer, chef's kiss, perfect. This is all about temperature. I would push your temps to like 235 to 245 and see how that runs. Start at 235 and see how she goes. Extra temp is likely going to take care of most of these issues. For sure, temperature is going to solve the waviness that we see here on the side of the part. The little dots themselves may work themselves out, or you might need to look at adjusting your retraction. For silk filaments especially, make sure to add a little bit of extra retraction because, well, the silk agent, the thing that makes it shiny, is TPU. And if you don't believe me, you can check out our tour of Printed Solid, where we made our own Jesse's Elixir. Specifically, this elixir, which is PLA and TPU mixed. We know this because we made it. I still want this to be called Silver Fox. Dave, Silver Fox. This is Jesse Silver Fox. As for how to exactly take care of those zits where the Z-seam is, let's get the temperature figured out first, then we can move into the zits. I want to see how much the temperature actually impacts the zits themselves. Maybe they do completely go away, and we're left with a really nice running machine. This is what I'm assuming is a FlashForge AD5M. I am very interested in that brand new AD5X, the Adventurer 5X from FlashForge. So FlashForge, if you're watching this, I would very much like to look at that printer here on the channel. The FlashForge AD5M is had by plenty of our fans, including my identical twin brother, and everyone seems to really like him. I am interested in that AD5X. I think that could be one heck of a competitor out there in the market for a machine that can do multicolor 3D printing. And hey, speaking of machines that we want to take a look at, how about that Core 1? We recently did a live stream, although technically I might still be streaming right now, of the brand new Prusa Core 1. It's a really cool machine. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. We had a chance to speak with the product manager for the Core 1 over in Prague, and that video is going to be coming out very soon. If you guys do want to see an extended talk about the Core 1, make sure to get subscribed. And hey, if we're still alive, go check it out. And if not, we'll card to that stream so you can take a look at it as well. And hey, if you do go buy a Prusa Core 1, use the code 3D Musketeers on checkout. That helps us out, or click that link in that description. Greatly appreciated. Sometimes you buy products that make your neighbors raise their eyebrow a little bit, and, well, the commenters would call you Walter White. I would call it proper. This is the resin safety living room that we have here. This is definitely a tent for growing tomatoes and is a great way to build a bit of a safety enclosure for working on resin 3D prints. From the hanging light to the metal lined walls and stainless steel, all the things.
Everything is chrome in the future.
This is a proper resin 3D printing setup. Honestly, better than my setup. Not gonna lie, this is a dope setup. They even got ventilation in there. They got dedicated lighting. This is a really nice resin setup with a HEPA filter, the proper funnels. The one thing they're missing is some sort of silicone mat to do all the work on. Now, it is stainless steel, so you just cure the resin that dripped onto the stainless steel, but I do still like the actual silicone better because I find it to be not too much of a mess to clean up. And if I need to, I can just take it outside and cure it outside, then pick all the little chips off of it. And even using a proper VOC meter to like show that there's basically no VOCs, a fart is going to give you more VOCs than that in a space. But to be fair, just sitting there, the machines don't really off-gas a lot. It's honestly found that when you're doing the wash and cure, that's where the stuff tends to off-gas the most and where you have the biggest issues with volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. But still impressive nonetheless. And that is a window. The damn thing has a window. I'm sorry. This is like a really, really good setup with a good vent that runs, well, right to the outside. We got lab coats, we got respirators, we got ski goggles, and we even have proper UV glasses with nitrile gloves. I mean, all of this A+, absolute A+. The only thing I would potentially change is if you don't need the dexterity of the nitrile gloves, proper chemical handling gloves like ones we've linked in that description would be a better choice overall, but as long as you're handling the gloves properly, you're okay. Long sleeve lab coat, gotta love it, and hey, it adds like 2 points to street cred when it comes to intelligence factor. Everyone thinks a lab coat makes you smarter. Love everything that we see here. This to me is an ideal resin 3D printer setup. I recognize not everybody can do this, but especially if you are sensitive to the resin smell, because remember, resin is toxic. You thought I would forget? I'm the guy. I'm the guy that says resin is toxic. Because resin is toxic. You know this. Resin is toxic. And that's why, you know, we gotta wear the stuff that we wear. But this is a really nice setup. That's one of the larger grow tents that I've seen, but I do think it's pretty cool. We can see, they say, Walter White would be proud, and OP responds with, "You joke, but I had police over after the neighbors complained." Don't leave your windows open. What are you, a bamboo user who complains that they don't care about their privacy in the comments? Come on now. And the individual did an entire write-up on what they did, how they did it, all the pictures and all that. So if you want to see the Reddit thread, we'll link to it down below. But I would say that this is like one of those ideal setups. I'm sure there's a little bit of money spent in this, but if you are going to be doing resin printing in a meaningful way, it's not a bad idea to at least look at investing. But if you guys do see other things that you'd like to see in an ideal resin printer setup, let us know in those comments. I think that'd be a really cool thing to put together and kind of model it after this individual's post. I really do like it. It's quality. From Unstable Culture saying, well, this happened on our Bamboo X1 carbon. Nozzle bent in two, count them, two different directions, and cables and sock burnt. Thank God got a spare, now need to order more parts for the year. Yep, This is a tale as old as time with bamboo printers or any high-speed printer. The freaking nozzle runs into things, and whether it's running into the part, the printer, or something in between, we've seen this happen plenty of times. You definitely see she's a bit cattywampus, and it does... Are you running like a 0.6 there? Looks like it might be running a 0.6. Yep, thermistor's fine. Heater was fine. The sock, that burning, that's just from use. Man, we can see that they have 7,800 hours on this machine. That is normal and expected wear and tear on a printer sock. It's totally fine and absolutely nothing to be concerned about. And those of you that were waiting to see some about the FlashForge leak, and then there was a Creality issue in their cloud as well. Those will be likely next week, still collecting some information on them. Didn't feel 100% comfortable putting them in this week's episode. But do want to give a huge thank you to all of our channel member supporters whose names listed right next to me at the $5 tier and higher. And I know a lot of you have been yelling at me to get merch, and we finally hired someone to help us out with all of that. So stay tuned. That's all coming very, very soon. So, you know, keep an eye on things, and you'll see me start to wear different designs as well. But hey, if you do want to get behind the scenes action, see uncut versions of episodes like this, and even get to see videos before they go live, you know, assuming embargoes allow us to do that kind of thing, you can do so by joining for as little as $1 a month. And hey, at the $10 tier and higher, you get to come hang out in our private Discord server where you get a lot more of that behind the scenes access. But that is all that I have for you all today. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And hey, don't forget, if you do have any issues, we're here to help. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. I can do those tongue twisters pretty well. That was literally the first take. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for a first take. I'm just saying it's pretty good for a first take.